go over there where it's nice. Snakeweed, which is a lovely southwestern plant. First of the 3 mills that we're planning to visit, but it was built in 1870. It's really beautiful. You see the adobe bricks, and it's a water mill. So the wheel is over there, and here is a series of sort of water canals. I'm not sure what happens. We're going to go and explore. So this is a very old grinding stone, and the water wheel apparently would turn the wheel, and then the power of the water would turn this.
So what's really cool about this millstone is it's not one stone. They didn't have concrete, so they took pieces of limestone, and you can see the grooves cut into them. So this is the grinding surface. I don't know if this is the top or the bottom, but the unground wheat would be poured in the middle and then would be ground, and then through these radial grooves, the flour would be pushed to the outside.
So I'm kind of presuming this was probably the mill owner's house. And what's interesting about it, for those of you who are out of New Mexico, you can see the traditional way of building, which are these adobe bricks. And it would have been covered to protect the bricks, probably with an adobe plaster. Mud, basically. It's a mud house made out of mud bricks, a bit of stone at the bottom as the anchorage, and a wooden door. Really beautiful and really old.
So if you see you see these big wheels here, and there would be leather bands so that the force of the wheel being pushed by the water wouldn't just grind the flour, but would operate there. You could see even here in the wall, there would be these giant leather straps that would move. This is the classic pulley system. So there's another kind of what looks like some sort of different mill there, but all throughout this structure, you can see the remnants of it. They operated not just one mill, but a whole set of different, what you would now say power tools, but they were powered by the force of the water, not by electricity.
This, Florence just pointed out to me, is an old corn cob in the actual mud adobe. And there are rocks in here and stones. It's full of things. I don't know why. Maybe this sort of gave it some structure or just filled up some space. There's more corn cob down there, I think, by the looks of it. And these are obviously keeping the whole thing up because it's leaning and unsafe and coming apart, which is such a pity because it's a beautiful old building. You can see the actual, this is the back of the building. It's big, it's beautiful, it's leaning. And as Florence said to me a little bit earlier, it's sort of too far gone. It would be impossible really to get it back to any form of its former state. I don't think they'll ever get it back to its former glory, unfortunately, which is a pity because it's such a beautiful building.
So here's the wheel, the water wheel that's pushed, well, it used to be pushed by the water, and you can see how big it is, how much force it develops. So as we saw, this drove a lot of machinery inside, not just the mill, but all these other tools on these leather straps and pulleys. But that's an interesting solution.
What?
The double gabled roof has a trough in the middle of it.
And we've often seen it driving by and wondered, what it was all about. Well, now we know it's the mill. We're trying to work out what this would be for. And as behind over there is what looks like was mill house, and this could have been for animals. So this was a post office, flower shop, and these are things that were used apparently for the flour in some way, scooping it up and things like that. So the building was built in 1850, very thick walls. Beautiful. We're now going to go to the big house. So we've been directed over to the big house. Don't know what that means. And we're going to go and explore. So follow up. Wow. It's really funny because I come from a town in England called Saffron Walden, and it has a lot of old houses, doesn't it, that look like this.
Uh-huh.
This sort of window setting, the size of relationship between the walls and the windows looks very Essex. Okay. This was obviously a traditional ranch house, and it was an important one. Uh, Founded in 1850 as an important trading point on the Santa Fe Trail. So now we're going to go in and see what we can see. High bed, very high. So apparently this is the original fireplace. I doubt that this is original. Or the ceiling. It's been terribly done up over the years and no sensitivity to the ancientness of it, but this is original. So this must have been beautiful at one point. You could sit and keep warm, put things to keep them warm. So now we're going up. So it's all very strange. There's someone showing a few people round, and it looks like somebody actually lives here. The telly's on. There's a lot of personal items around. I think the town has bought this old ranch, and they're kind of doing it as a place for family reunions and things for the town. It's a little mix match of deco styles. It's very interesting to see. The view is amazing, and probably this is the land that the place had to ranch originally.
So I'm really quite certain this is an acequia, an irrigation ditch, and you can see the head gate. So from here, they would irrigate the pastures behind here. You can see it's a very large one, comes probably from up here from Okata and Rainsville. These systems are very ancient to irrigate so you can grow your crop.
There's a covered wagon on show for some reason, but that was the old type of covered wagons that pioneers would have arrived in. I always find it strange, not having grown up in America, to see this, way that people arrived and lived. The second on the tour, and it's called St. Rem's Mill. It's a beautiful old building, so let's go and see. Oh, I said Rem, it's Ren. So we're not allowed in because of structural problems again, but you can see some of the old machinery and the actual beautiful old building. So there's been, work to save the mill. So they've been collecting money, and I suppose there's more to do to make it safe enough for people to come in. But you get an idea, and we'll walk around so you can see it from the outside. So it says that Seraine Saint Vrain arrived in Taos in 1825.
So just taking a quick look, you can see there are cut stones with masonry in between, big lintels above the windows. You can even see a little bit of the roof structure. So this is was built by Saint Ren, who was a French immigrant who did various things around here. But this to me is a much more sort of European structure, much more solid.
Do you think that's his French influence?
I would think so. So from what we just learned, initially this mill was powered by a water wheel. Here you can see, so this looks like it was the original position. There must have been some sort of aqueduct leading water, probably from behind me in this direction, so I would be turning clockwise. And then we were just reading a sign that said that afterwards they installed a steam generator to operate the mill. So I think it went from here through the wall into the building, which we can't
Through
see.
there?
I think so. That there would be a giant axle that took the rotating power from the outside inside, and then it was probably connected to various bits of machinery. And the inside there was a big wooden funnel, which is where the grain would be fed into the mill. So the guy who built this mill, Saran Saint-Ren, was born in 1802 in the French territory near St. Louis, Missouri. So at the time, this was before the famous Louisiana Purchase. What people don't know about the Louisiana Purchase, it wasn't just Louisiana, it was actually several states up from there, all the way up to Detroit. Detroit is a French word meaning the narrows or the straits.
I wonder
Uh,
how he ended up here.
well, first he was a trapper in Taos,
Oh,
probably
yeah.
along the Rio Grande, and then when that dried up, he did various other things. He was involved in co-founding one of the towns in Colorado near here.
Gorgeous,
And
isn't
then
it?
he got like a 4 million acre grant, which must have been around here.
So I know they're saving or, trying to collect money to mend and restore these old mills. This one, I'm not sure what they'll have to do here, but it's, splitting in two, which is such a pity. These beautiful old blocks, which is very different from the other one, which was the old adobe. But you said the other one was built after this one. Glass mill, and it's called Cleveland Roller Mill. And this one is the only one that you have to pay to get in. So I think it's less of a ruin and could even be a working mill. We'll soon see.
Adobe again.
So once again, yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's younger or older. It just means that whoever built it was
Use the
familiar with,
traditional method.
yeah, and Saint-Ren being from the French territories where there's no adobe because it was too humid, used stone.
Yeah. Early milling in New Mexico.
So this is the
These
thing
are
you
like
found.
this, yes.
Well, this, and this is
Yeah.
like what you found in our land.
Exactly, the grinding apparatus
And
for
even this
crushing
one.
seeds, yes.
And that's the way they did it.
Yeah. So this would be the primitive or ancient way of.
Well, yeah, the word primitive is
Yeah.
not.
So this would have been
the
the
indigenous way. Look down
indigenous
below.
way. I love this. Look, and you can see where
Yeah.
it's worn.
Yeah, look at down below.
Beautiful. What have we got here?
Yeah.
A coulter. Clean the wheat of any oats and barley before it was washed. So they run this round and it would. This is a scourer, which obviously was also cleaning.
And you can
Remove
see
roughage.
the wheat came from the top. See that square or rectangular
up there,
pipe?
down
there's
here,
two of
down
them.
here, and down here. Yeah. And then here are the different types of grain.
Yeah.
So cracked wheat, semolina, wheat bran, wheat germ, barley grains. That's been ground. I don't know what it is. This is white flour, cracked buckwheat, semolina, oats.
Look at all these wooden pipes. They're like organ
So
pipes.
this would be, yeah.
You could open them. If you got stuck, you could stick your hand in
amazing.
there. So they probably had different ones for the different types of grain.
This mill used 8 pairs of rolls of varying roughness. This pair are break rolls, so named because they break up the wheat kernels, which is the first phase of the grinding operation. So it would come out here, I imagine?
No, that's, I
Or
think
you put
it
in
probably
there.
went down below
Right.
because it goes on below. See, this thing is like what we saw at the other
Yeah.
one, it was disconnected. There's another grinder. Again,
What
fed
does
from
it say
above.
here? The Wolf Company.
Look, there's all these belts again. So these were driven from below.
This is a corn grinder. Look at that leather. And here it says grain dust are used to supplement the mill's other sifters and reels in the milling separation process. Here's a kernel of wheat.
Yeah, and the different parts of it. Grain elevator. So here they would pack the flour.
Oh yeah, here's the bag.
Oh, so these are the grain elevators.
Wow, look at that.
All right, yeah, look, so here you have the little scoops.
Yeah.
So they bring it in on the bottom and it would belt driven. So we'll probably see the dry. Oh, look, it's all of these.
Yeah.
All of these.
And look at the bag.
Yeah, that's when you buy it.
1882.
Yeah,
centrifugal reel.
Yeah, that's this one here. Well, or this. Oh, look. Yeah, so they would J.V. Ersum and Sons manufacturers.
Where the cat used to sleep.
Another packer, this for Bran. He
constructed the Cleveland Roller Mill and operated it until 1913. And this reminds me of my dad's old scale in the bathroom for the doctor's scale. It's exactly the same. Yeah. This is the same
design.
Yeah.
Again, here ways to fill whatever wheat there was. Yeah. Here's another big grain funnel. So this is how they would close the belts because they had to lace it.
And this is the sickle commonly used in the Mora Valley to cut wheat and oat stalks. We've got one the same for harvesting our plants. So here you've got the different things that they used to.
Spring wheat
Their
kernels ready
products.
to be ground, red winter wheat, so different wheats have different shapes.
Bran, cornmeal. So they produced a lot. And here you have the map of northern New Mexico where things were. It has been estimated by one authority that at least 118 corn and flour mills were located in these 4 counties early in the 20th century. Most of these mills were similar capacity and construction. Where are we?
So we're here.
And where's Taos? Up here. And these were all the mills. Amazing.
Yeah.
According to one account, in 1880, there were 20 mills along the Rio Grande between Velarde and Los Cordova.
This is a wash run.
Clean the wheat of any debris that the receiving separator and coulter missed.
Dryer was the drum back there
right.
where it would spin and then the moisture would go like a washing machine. Or US patents number 2 and 3. Wow, these were the first 2 of the first 3 patents ever issued. And look, here's more of these grain elevators. Put the grain in here and then scoop it up to get to the top to feed into the
big. Look at that belt.
Yeah.
Look
So
at
that's
that.
probably, we have to see where the water wheel is, but this is the main thing. And so that's a flywheel, you know, that gains momentum. And then look at these. And look
cogs.
how wide they are, how wide the belts are.
Look at this.
And look, all these connections to the above. So everything above is operated by the same. This is like what we saw remnants of in the other mill. The grain elevators, and then it came down in these shafts. It went from the top of the grain elevator and went right into the chutes. Look.
Outside the mill in 1912.
That's the same grain mill, the one down the road.
Oh, that's the one we've just been to.
So a lot of the mills were smaller like this.
This is this one.
Yes. So the large mills are very rare. If the mill like St. Vrain would be extremely rare because most of them are really small.
1943. And look at this. What was happening here? It's being. And what that's about, it looks like there's been bombed or something. That's that store in Chacon.
That's why it was totally decrepit. The rise and fall of grain farming in Mora County, so it spiked from 1910 to 1920 and then collapsed. Maybe because people went off to the war.
Yeah, what was this?
It's a sock duster. So this is the water wheel that drove all the tools inside all the machines, all the grinders that we saw. It's called a roller mill because these steel rollers, which we saw on the inside, including several flywheels that just gain momentum and then move all the machinery, the grain elevators, the grinders, the sifters, the cleaners. It's all powered by this, off-grid, totally sustainable. It's a beautiful building. Because the river is downhill from here, I imagine that they built an acequia way upriver to divert the water so that the force of the water would drive this. So the one on the left looks like a seeder where you drop the seeds, and the one on the right was probably some sort of weird tiller or...
yeah, it looks like it. Or made the ruts for the seeds. Let's look at that. Look at this old stones.
Yeah, again, with the striations.
And there's something in here.
So this is a much more primitive mill. These mills were much more widespread in New Mexico.
It's a traditional grist mill.
I've seen these in Tibet too. Put the grain in on top. Sometimes they were operated by water. Sometimes they were operated by animals. In this case, the water ran underneath, you can see. And so there was a horizontal water wheel that turning the wheel would grind the grain. So it was not nearly as powerful.
This was the type of mill apparently that was found from the 1600s in New Mexico.
They were very widespread. Oh, this one used to be in Trampas.
Yeah, I read it.
There's this beautiful oak, which is the biggest oak I've seen in northern New Mexico.
Really beautiful. It must be old. Really running heavily.
Yeah, it's murky and running heavily.
Yeah, so they must have had the rain we had last night. Beautiful. What a great tour we've had. And just literally down the road from our land. It's really great to see the history of this place, and bit by bit we'll find out more, really piece the the history of this part of northern New Mexico together. Every bit that we clear, it looks sort of monotonous, and it is in a way, but we want to show you how we're clearing a sort of pathway through what was once impenetrable wilderness. So we're actually accessing land. There's about an acre in here, which was really, really difficult to get to. So we're actually accessing land that we bought, but we didn't really know what was there by doing all this digging up and making of pathways. So come with us. So here, it looks like you can't get through, but you can now because I cleared it last time we were clearing. What we're trying to do is keep the berry bushes. These are like a wild gooseberry. And so it is actually easy to get by. And in here, we get to see, if you come, we get to see this beautiful bigger pond. And Tapatina's enjoying it. Jar's idea is because there's spring feeding this pond and we're very near the river, Jar's idea is to get a digger and really dig a big, deep, deep pond that will never dry out and will have like a loading bay so we can swim and we can use the water. But let's see, I feel a little hesitant about that just because I love the wildness of it.
But there's another pond below there.
Yeah. So the idea, Jar's idea, is to make it one massive big pond, which I can understand. But we have to do these things sensitively. And what's great about that black dog, Finley, is a few weeks ago he was terrified of water because he was a rescue dog from a puppy mill. And now, and there's a dragonfly, now he has learned from the other dogs that it's fun. And so he loves the water now. What I love about this area are the birds, the wildlife, the beavers, the insects, the wildflowers. And so I really want to be sensitive about it. Look, there's some tiny little, let's see what these are. These look like they could be a forget-me-not. I think they are. They're a tiny little forget-me-not, which is gorgeous. So we'll show you around the other side. So this is one little area that we can reach the water, and always trying to keep the berries. And then here you can see the spring. If you look carefully, this is wet because the spring is coming from under here, and in here you can see where the water is being fed by the spring. So that's just beautiful to have this spring. No, don't forget, I don't know where you are watching this, but we're in New Mexico. It's the desert. This is northern New Mexico, so it's the high desert, but it's still considered a desert because it's so dry. And so having this is just like the biggest gift we could imagine. And that's why I want to really use it sensitively, because it's not just us that's going to profit from us, or that already the animals, the insects, the plants are really profiting from this in a very arid land. There's a goldenrod and there's loads of it. Next year I definitely want to do something with it, maybe distill it. There's burdock, which is a great lymph mover and blood mover, and great for getting sort of when there's boils or stuff that needs to be moved. We use the root. So should we go that way over here?
Yeah, if you step on the stones
Yeah.
that are exposed.
Okay, excuse me, Tapatine. Over here, Florian cleared here, and we get another view of this pond. This is a type of agastache, which is aromatic. And so the other thing about seeing what grows wild here is giving us indications of things that we can use, or not use, things that we can plant that will be easily adaptable to this type of climate, soil, etc. So this is a aromatic plant. It's an agastache, a wild agastache, and it smells lovely. I would love to grow this, knowing that it grows well here naturally, and make an essential oil, because there are different spots all over the land where I've seen this plant. And here are some nice berries, and we need to actually properly botanize the berries, because we've got these ones that are red. There's another.
These are black and they have
Yeah,
different leaves.
let's try those because these are very sweet. The red ones are quite tart. These black ones, so let's look at the difference. If anybody knows already the difference in species, but you see very different leaf. This looks like a gooseberry to me, but I'm not sure. I don't know the berries here. But I do know that these lovely blackberries, the granddaughters love them because they're sweet. You want one? They're lovely and sweet compared to the red ones. And then there are some yellow ones. They're just gorgeous. I should collect these, Sherry. And got that one. It's crazy that we couldn't get here before.
I know.
And now it's
cleared it all.
But we need to keep it cleared. That's
of course.
the thing. Okay, and so then we get to this bit, and there's this sort of canal built probably by the beavers, would you say?
Well, because they dammed up they made a dam, it formed a lake, and this is upstream from the lake, and because there's less water now, it's sort of becoming a bit stagnant.
What we've been trying to do here, these piles have come out of this very old, I thought it was a fruit tree at first, but it's actually a cottonwood, a very old cottonwood. And we're trying to gradually take it apart. So we've got these piles of wood, which we're going to have to do something about so that we can clear here, because there is, as I said, over an acre of land of wildness that you can't get through without chopping and clopping. So we've got a big job ahead of us. But the other thing I wanted to show you or talk to you about here is all the lovely mint. This is the other one. It's an aromatic, and this one is the mint, which is a corn mint, which is gorgeous, and there's loads of it all over. And that's another reason why I want to clear the invasive willow, is because it's very hard to be able to see what we've got. And in here, this is great. I've shown you before, but again, the beavers keep using the wood that I'm cutting to make their entrance even more protected, because they kind of sense we're around. They can hear us, the dogs are around. I just keep telling them, we're not going to hurt you. We're here with you. We love what you've done. But they're making this nice big defense system. Margaritas, which are just pretty and gorgeous. Then we come over here. This was like a footpath, so we could just actually get down here. It's funny how quickly stuff grows up, so we'll have to just come clopping, I suppose. And then we get this way, so it'd be good to clear all that driftwood.
Yeah. Well, when we make the fire is a good time to throw the driftwood in the fire.
So here we get to the river, and it's actually risen a bit again, which is good because it was getting dry. And we'll take you through to the other part, the other side of the wilderness. So this is, again, it is a path. Look at the lovely goldenrod. I should make and I've never used this medicine. It didn't really grow where I lived in Europe, so I want to explore it as herbal medicine.
Yeah. Max is going in to take a closer
Finley's
look at the
in.
fish.
Is it great, Finfu?
Max likes it, and he's not afraid to go into the deep. Yeah. So look, here's these blackberries again, which I thought were Mustang grapes.
They're lovely and sweet.
Yeah.
Go on, Max. So this is all, again, all you can see. Our land goes along this fence line and then takes a turn down there and goes along, the fence line goes along where that juniper is down there. So all this is still very inaccessible, but very rich. Here, these are rose hips from the rose bushes. There's agastache here, there's nettles, there's the goldenrod, there's burdock, mullein.
So here's one entrance to the clearing, and if you look, it's maybe hard to see, but all over it, next to the goldenrod, there's a bunch of agastache.
Nice.
Actually, the English name for agastache is giant hyssop.
Yes, true. Here's some hops. Really nice. Same family as cannabis, and it smells very distinctly of cannabis. Really good for sleep, for hormonal regulation for women, for beer. These are big strobbles. I wonder what this is.
What?
Willow?
Yeah.
Just slightly more stringy.
Well, there's probably different species of willow. Okay, the fruit trees start here, so there are some of them right here.
Have they got fruit on them? Yes,
They
lovely.
do. And
A
I don't
wild plum, maybe.
plum or apricot or a common ancestor.
There's one.
Yeah, there's a
And
whole
there's
bunch
one.
of them. There's
Yeah,
some
we
over
should
there.
clear here sensitively around them.
I mean, in terms of water, you know, they've lived here for decades. They've managed to go from
Yeah,
seed.
to
The old
this.
trees are dead. There's a lot of dead trees here. And these have survived, so they know what they're doing, but we should give them some breathing room.
Yeah.
There's all this yarrow right here also.
And there.
That looks like it could be an apple.
Really nice.
Yeah, there's a bunch over there.
Yeah, look.
Yes,
Here.
exactly.
So this would be really nice to sort of gently
Yeah.
sort of do something with.
And it's not totally, I mean, I think there's a lot of them amongst the willows that we could liberate, but they've survived. Here's some. So these are different. I think this is apple and this is
that
plum, apricot.
There's some. There's
Yeah.
loads.
They have fruit. This one has fruit on it.
They do look like apricots in a funny way.
Yeah. Some yarrow.
Or plums.
They're shiny, they're not fuzzy, so I think they're probably plums.
All the birds. This is the last bit of the series of waterways that is on our land. Here we have a sort of cave area. Look at that.
You'd make a great little, you could put a bench in there. There's still a level difference from here to down there, so I think that's a beaver dam right there.
Yeah.
And then here, the difference is like 2 feet. So the beavers made a dam. The water level is,
wow.
if you
Look
stand
at that
up there,
work.
that's like 2 feet.
Yeah. So why do they do that?
Well, they shape their environment so they can catch fish, create species that wouldn't live here otherwise.
Yeah, so they just do such a good job. That's why I'd be really careful.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with them because it could have a really negative impact on the land.
I think so.
And we don't really need a swimming pond.
So if anybody knows and has experience with this type of ecosystem created by beavers, with the river, with these waterways, we need advice. If you know anything and you have that advice, please share.
So these are the narrowleaf cottonwoods, I think, even though they were trimmed, but they often have very thick trunks. So, and look at the difference. The water is here, and then it's like 2 feet lower down there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had like this precious, you know, we're Europeans, so nettle is a major medicine and food actually. Here's a beautiful stand of nettle. So it feels at the same time as exciting, a massive responsibility. That's what I keep feeling, to tend this in a way that is the right way. And here we are in this beautiful, between all these little beaver ponds. It's just so beautiful and amazing.